Saturday morning, and it's time for us to kick off the Experts program. Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Groups, gets us going every Saturday morning here on Power Talk as we talk technology. And a very good morning to you, Luis.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm well. We've got a couple of topics today. One thing that I wanted to kick off the program with was an ad that I've seen in my social media fields from Boost Mobile. And Boost Mobile is one of these MVNOs. It's a mobile virtual network operator. They actually don't own any infrastructure, but they are like Pure Talk and Straight Talk and a number of others. They buy their bandwidth or the airtime from one of the three biggies, either T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, or AT&T, and then they resell it to you. So a lot of times when you buy a phone and you want to use one of these services, they'll give you a SIM card that will allow you to get on their network, which is essentially like, for example, if you're on Straight Talk, you're essentially on the Verizon network because that's who they're buying their airtime from, because Verizon now owns Straight Talk. But getting back to Boost Mobile has an ad running in our social media feeds that is claiming that they've got this limited time offer for $25 a month forever rate for unlimited talk, text, and data. Now, you have to sign up for this with a credit card that they're going to debit every month for that $25.
Yep, auto-pay.
An auto-pay kind of thing. And it looks like a pretty good deal, and it probably is. And by the way, Boost is buying their airtime from T-Mobile and Sprint, so that's whose network you would be on. So I called them yesterday, did a little homework on this, and I found that, yes, it is unlimited data, because that's really the most important thing that people want, is data. And the guy said, well, it is pretty much unlimited with this one exception. Your first 5 gigs of data are at high speed, and then beyond 5 gigs, you drop down to a much slower speed, like essentially 2G or 3G speed, which is really useless for doing any sort of streaming or surfing. So it's one of those caveat emptors, buyer beware. If you don't use your phone for surfing or web streaming of any sort, then that $25 a month is a pretty good deal. But if you like most people, you use your phone to watch different things or download music or download things, then you're going to want to probably stay with the plan that you're at, because what I've seen with all of the companies that offer these very low dollar plans, like between $25 and $30 or $35, is that they all basically give you 5 gigs of data, high-speed data, and then after that, they ratchet you down. I don't think there's anybody out there you can buy a plan for, say, $30 or $35 and get 10 gigs of data or 15 or anything like that. They're all stopping at 5. So you just got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, and it doesn't work with all phones too. So if you are going to jump on board with this plan, make sure to take your phone into a Boost Mobile store and confirm that it will work with their SIM card, because not all of them do.
That's right. Make sure the phone can be unlocked.
Yep.
On the other hand, if you bought a phone at a store that wasn't part of a cellular network, your phone is unlocked. So then you'd be okay. But that's a good point. That's something for people to watch out for. And if you're interested in it, go for it. All right. The story that we have for you this week, our feature story, is about the owner of an NBA basketball team named Mark Cuban. We're not talking NBA basketball, but when I think of Mark Cuban, I always think of the fact that he owns the team in Dallas.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of other oars in the water than NBA basketball. And one thing that he's really interested in is homeschooling and seeing what it can do and how it can grow and evolve. He is coming out behind an idea that ChatGPT can revolutionize homeschooling to where a child could use homeschooling and ChatGPT and maybe use that to go to college, that they would never have to set foot into a formalized classroom structure, be it private or public. What's the rest of the story here?
Yeah, so we've heard about all of the innovations that everybody expects ChatGPT and this generative AI technology to give us. And it seems like every week we have something new to talk about. But this is an intriguing concept, because one of the powers of ChatGPT is that when you ask it a question, it doesn't just give you a bunch of links to the answers, potential answers. It actually formulates a response specifically tailored to the question that you asked. So the idea is, if you're a homeschooler and you have children and you say, hey, ChatGPT, put together a Algebra 1 quiz of 25 questions for my son or my daughter and provide me the answers. So then it creates the quiz, you print it out, give it to your son or daughter, and then you know what the answers are. So it's a way for homeschooling parents to have access to massive amount of information and data and be able to tailor the education that they give their children in a much more specific way rather than just relying on a set books or programs that they have to buy from a homeschooling company. And the idea can extend into higher level learning. It's not just K through 12, but you can imagine that at some point that these technologies will be used for remote learning for students who are going into specific fields. If you want to be a lawyer, for example, and you want to take your LSAT at some point, having a way to be able to study for that and have quizzes presented to you to prepare you without having to pay for some sort of school or pay for some online service to do that. It's really very interesting. And it can also be not only a way to displace teachers, but to assist teachers. Imagine if teachers could start using this technology and enable it on, let's say, the school's website so that students can go in and when they're doing homework, query because they're stuck and be able to get answers based on specific parameters put in place by the school. And then the school would also know that that student was having issues, and then they can do some remediation and maybe additional training or additional schooling for that specific student. So that the possibilities really are endless.
I was looking at a story in the New York Times this morning, and we're recording this on Friday morning, the 21st, that is. But they were talking about the unintended consequences of AI programs. And they were saying that AI outcomes won't always be good. As they said, with phone cameras, people can sacrifice photo quality for convenience. The trade-offs could be more consequential with AI. Consider an AI that can write well. At first, the quality might fall short of the writing that you do yourself. Still, like a coding AI, it could give you the time that you could use to sharpen the draft, focus on research, or complete a different task. But this bot might not also care about some qualities that humans value. Perhaps it'll spin out falsehoods that some writers won't catch before publishing online. Or bad actors could use AI to create and distribute well-written disinformation more efficiently. In other words, what an AI does can fail to align with its creators' or users' goals. Here's a real-world example, Luis. Ted Rall is a political cartoonist. He recently asked ChatGPT to describe his relationship with Scott Stantis, another cartoonist. It falsely suggested that Stantis had accused Rall of plagiarism in 2002 and that both of them had a public feud. None of this happened. So there are some unintended consequences with our current AI technologies.
Oh, yeah. We're still in the baby steps stage of this kind of technology, and there's so much more left to discover and to, quite frankly, figure out what kind of barriers do we need to put in place to make sure that this isn't abused. Congress in the United States is frantically trying to come up with an understanding of what kind of limitations they can put in place. And in Italy, they've actually banned ChatGPT and like technologies because they're afraid of them. So I think we're going to see a lot of development this year, largely positive, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of negative too.
In looking at the idea of ChatGPT or GPT taking over teaching, a lot of parents, there's a subset of parents who are very concerned with what they feel is political indoctrination that goes on in America's schools. They might be among the first people that would pull their kids out of public schools and take advantage of this type of technology because they see it. They would probably want it programmed to be apolitical instead of viewing their kids with whatever it is that the parents fear is going on in the school system, be it public or private. So this will be fascinating to watch and see where it goes.
I'm excited to see where it goes. Absolutely.
That's Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, online, alvareztg.com, @AlvarezTG. That's the Twitter handle, and you can give them a call at what number?
Give us a call at 866-78-ITEEN. That's 866-784-8326.